Hello, and welcome to this slightly experimental video. I've been asked by the university, or at least the McClellan Centre, to record a couple of videos that will give you the opportunity to do a little bit of exercise of the body and the mind. So this is my 10-minute screen break. So my being Marc Price. I'm a senior lecturer here at the university. For my day job, I'm teaching software engineering. My passion is Tai Chi, Qigong and meditation, which I do occasionally on the side. So today we're going to do some very simple Qigong exercises and also a very simple but quite powerful, I find, meditation to follow. In this video, I just want to show you step by step in detail what the exercises are so that you get them right, and then after that we shall actually do a 10-minute session of those exercises. I may shoot another couple of videos actually that basically give you variants of these exercises, but today's exercises are going to be seated. I am a bit against seated myself, unless of course you can't avoid sitting down if standing up is difficult for you. If it's not difficult for you, I think we should be standing up. I've got a sit-stand desk here in front of me and I like to make use of it. Apart from anything else, it keeps me warmer. I think when you're standing up you burn up more energy and therefore you are able to keep warm better. But anyway, these exercises can be done seated and standing. I'm going to show you them seated right now. So as I said, we're going to do some physical exercise and then we're going to do some mind exercise. So for the physical exercise, I'm going to sit back a little bit and move my mic forwards a bit as well so you can still hear me. For the physical exercises, as I said, we're going to do these seated, but that doesn't mean to say that you're going to be lazy about it. There's a particular way in which you need to sit. Now I know I'm working in quite a dark room at the moment, but luckily I'm wearing quite a dark top, so hopefully you can see the outline. And you can see that I'm not sat back like this, well I am now, but I'm sat a little bit forwards. There's a little bit of a forwards lean. The lean is coming from my hip joints, yeah? It's not coming from my head, my neck, or anywhere on the spine. It's in the hip joints. My sit bone is still firmly on the chair, but it's on the edge of the chair. And by virtue of leaning a little bit forwards, I'm bringing my weight into my feet a little bit. Yeah? So my feet are taking about 50% of my weight across the 2 feet, and the other 50% are in the sit bone. This has the effect of taking some of your body weight out of the small of your back, and therefore frees up the small of the back so that it can actually start to expand. So that is what we mean by sitting when we're sitting to do these exercises. We want to try and stretch open as many of the joints of the body as possible, but particularly the big joints. Yeah. The point being that by doing this stretching, we are starting to relieve tension that's held in the body. Tension gets held in the body because we get stressed, and then when we get stressed, we get tense, and so we have a bit of a vicious circle. So we have to try and break it in a number of ways. And so sometimes we can be so tense in the body that going straight into some kind of meditation or mindfulness exercise, it just isn't going to work for you, or often it doesn't. And people don't understand why, and one of the reasons is because you're holding tension in the body. So we do some physical exercise first to get that tension freed off. And in order to do the physical exercise, we've got to get our sitting position or our standing position, which I'll show you in another video, perfectly right. Well, not perfect, but we've got to get some precision in it. Okay, so by virtue of doing this, we can actually push a little bit of force through the feet. Yeah, so I'm pushing some force through the balls of my feet, and by doing that, I can then start to stretch open the spine a little bit. And to do that, in order to stretch open the spine, basically you're trying to lift your head upwards, trying to touch the ceiling with the top of your head, and you'll feel hopefully that your spine is just a little bit longer, back is a little bit longer. Of course, the spine isn't your back, it's just part of your back, And it's quite useful also to think about stretching the front of the spine. So if you can imagine that you've got like a thermometer or something running up the front of the spine, and as it's getting hotter, because you're doing a little bit of exercise, the thermometer level is rising and it's causing the spine to unfurl a little bit and bring the head back on top of the shoulders. So again, let me give you a sideways view. So I might have started like this, especially if I've been looking at the screen for a long time, and then by just stretching up the front of the spine, the head comes back on top of the spine. The chest lifts up as well. So we want to do something about that. We want to just soften the chest down, but keep the spine where it is. So just trying to place the mind in the sternum and just let it relax a little bit. Once we've got that relaxation in the chest, we then want to work on the shoulders, because the shoulders are going to be quite I'm going to say stress them, but quite tense, yeah? So we want to free off the tension in the shoulders, particularly if you've been messing around with the keyboard or the mouse. To do that, then, first of all, we soften the sternum, but then we start to move the shoulders out sideways. So vertically, they're soft, and the arms are just relaxed, but you're going to try and move them apart. And because the chest is soft and relaxed, then it will start to expand open in a sideways direction. Still maintaining everything else, yeah? Then, we would like to make that opening, that elongation, travel down the full length of the arms. So first of all, just moving the elbows out sideways, yeah? Not lifting the shoulders up to do it, keeping the shoulders soft, and then just stretching gently through the elbows, through the wrist joints. So I'm trying to get myself lined up with the camera. Through the elbows, through the wrist joints, through the tips of the fingers. It's almost as if you've got a person on each hand and they're pulling them in opposite directions. And because the chest is relaxed and the shoulders relaxed, you're just allowing them to move apart. We then change that so that the elbows are still stretched out sideways and the shoulders are still stretched out sideways, but it's like you're leaning on a pair of stools or a pair of posts either side of you. Basically, the base of the hand or the palm of the hand is leaning into a pair of posts. Okay? So, once we've got that, we then want to do a bit of movement. Yeah? So we've got this nice stretch in the spine caused by a sitting position, yeah, and by pushing a little bit into the ground through the feet. We've got a stretch going across the shoulders, right the way down the arms, through to the fingertips, and also we're kind of pushing down just a little bit through the hands on a pair of imaginary poles. And so if there's a standing position, then in Qigong and Tai Chi we would call it a Chinese name that roughly translates as standing on poles. So it's quite a good analogy. So now we're going to move the shoulders. What I'd like you to do at the same time is breathe in. So you just breathe in up the front of the spine, and at the same time rotate the arms and the shoulder joints so that the hands are hovering well above the head. You're kind of creating a bit of a circular shape as best you can, given that your bones aren't flexible in the arms. The palms of the hands are facing the ceiling, the fingertips are nearly touching, and the shoulders are still relaxed. Then we open out to the sides, keeping the fingers, the hands vertical. And then we carry on that movement. So we carry on bringing the arms down, stretching. You may feel some sensations in the hand as you do that. And then we're just going to change. We're just going to softly, gradually, gently, smoothly change so that we go back to where we started. Yeah, with the hands down here resting on a pair of poles. Okay, so that is the physical exercises. We're going to do a session of these physical exercises in a bit. I just wanted to explain those to you in detail first. Now I'd like to explain to you in detail the mind exercises. So I'm going to move back in a little bit closer to the camera. I'll move my microphone. So once we've done those exercises and we've freed off all the tension in the body, we're then able to start freeing off tension in the mind. Because what happens, you see, is that when we work hard, particularly in front of display screen equipment, we're doing a lot of thinking, we're doing a lot of cognitive processing, the brain is busy, it's all lit up. And this actually is quite good for the brain, yeah? But it needs a break. It needs regular breaks. So when we take our display screen equipment screen break, it's a good idea to actually give the brain a break as well. And this very simple meditation allows you to do that. It comes from the Chan, the Zen tradition, but there are no religious connotations to it. It is just an exercise of the mind. So all you're going to do is try to find your awareness. Try to find, it's almost like you're touching inside of yourself, or looking inside of yourself, or listening inside of yourself, depending on what your preferred modality is. Ideally, doing all of those actually. For me, touching is my main one, which is the reason why I said it first. It's easier if you close your eyes. So you just allow the eyelids to close or to relax across the eyes, and allow the face muscles to remain fairly relaxed. And then what you're going to do is you're going to place, or you're going to focus your awareness at the centre of your head, or where you think the centre of your head is, from a feeling perspective or from a looking inwards perspective. And one approach I use, which I'm going to explain to you now, is to get there, is to basically place the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth. So have a go at that. Place the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, on the palate, in the centre, yeah? And then slide the tongue backwards until you get to the soft part of the palate. You feel a ridge at the back there where it just changes so it's soft. And then move it forwards again, what feels like 1 or 2 centimetres, maybe 1.5 centimetres actually, but we don't want to get too precise because it's quite tricky without getting rulers out and stuff, and you can't see in there anyway. So just placing the tongue on the tip of the palate. Now what I'd like you to do is just make a mental note of what the palate tastes like on the tip of the tongue. Yeah, so you're going to be getting a taste, and then notice the temperature. Is it cooler or warmer than your tongue, or is it the same? And then notice if it's rough or smooth. Notice if it's dry or wet. Just notice everything that your tongue feels and tastes when it's touching that point on the roof of the mouth. Okay? Now what I'd like you to do is swap it around so that you're now sensing the tip of the tongue with the roof of the mouth. So just notice what the tip of the tongue feels like. Is it rough? Is it smooth? Is it wet? Is it dry? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it hard? Is it soft? Now, in effect, what you have done is you have focused your awareness on the tip of the tongue, and then you've moved it upwards into the roof of the mouth. So the next step then to get to the centre of the head is to move it upwards a bit further. So try moving, now that you've got this focus of awareness, it's probably a blob, about that big, focus of awareness, just move it upwards so that it feels like it's going basically through the nasal cavity and then into the brain. And you just want it to be sat there somewhere in the centre of the brain, roughly. Okay, now, so it is said in the Chan and Zen literature that this place is roughly where your thoughts originate. So we want to give the brain a break by trying to get it to stop thinking. Now, most people would say you're trying to get it to think of nothing. But if you're thinking of nothing, then you're thinking of something. You're thinking of nothing. We don't want you to be thinking of anything. Of course, thinking of nothing, or not thinking, is quite hard, yeah? Particularly if you're in the middle of a busy day. So what we do then is we go, okay, well, let's just think about one thing then, rather than thinking about no things. And that one thing that you're going to be thinking about is just maintaining this focus on the centre of your brain. So just keeping that focus whilst keeping this sitting position that I showed you before. So you're still sat forwards in the seat, yeah? You've still got soft shoulders, you're still stretching the spine. and the arms are just relaxed. You can have them just sat, I'll just move back a little bit. You can just have them here like this in the lamp. You can have them dangling down, either of those, so long as you don't have any strain on the shoulders or the arms. Trying to remove any kind of distractions, any physical distractions from the body and from the mind, yeah. And that's it, really. Except that there's one other thing that you find really helpful in finding this place that thoughts come from, and that is to try to allow your state of consciousness to change. I don't mean anything particularly esoteric here. I just mean you're just going to allow yourself to shift down from alertness. So you're kind of moving your level of alertness down towards sleep. Ideally, you want to be what we would say is halfway between awake and asleep. Again, we're sort of getting quite vague here, and it's quite difficult to measure this, but basically where you think is halfway between. Now, sometimes when I'm teaching this to people in person, they get a little bit nervous because they think, oh my gosh, if I fall asleep, I'm going to start snoring. Well, hopefully there's nobody around that will be troubled by you snoring. But also, because you would be following a video with me, I'm going to wake you up at the end of it anyway. So if you fall asleep, the reason you fall asleep is because your body wants to sleep, and there's no harm in having a quick 10-minute sleep, yeah, or a quick 5-minute nap. That's basically what your body wants, and it's asking for that if it's taking you into sleep. If you're able to hold yourself between awake and asleep, you're not needing that sleep. You're obviously getting enough sleep at night, and you can really give your brain a really good refreshing rest by being halfway between. So that's what we're aiming for. Now what's going to happen is, while you're doing that, is thoughts are going to arise, of course, because that's what your mind's like, isn't it? Lots and lots of thoughts are going to bubble up. The key is not to focus on those thoughts, just to let them be, let them exist, and they will sort of float off and another thought will appear. And all you're trying to do is really find, metaphorically at least, where these thoughts are coming from. That's your pursuit, that's the thing that you're thinking about. Where are those thoughts coming from? Because that is separating you from the thought, so that you can observe it rather than be part of it. Okay. So those are the exercises that we're going to do. I'm now going to take us through a 10-minute session of those exercises. So we'll have about 5 minutes of physical exercise and then 5 minutes of mind exercise. I might actually make it so that we've got a bit more time doing the meditation and a bit less time doing the physical, because hopefully you've already had a quick go of the physical with me anyway. So I'm going to shift my chair back, move my microphone a little bit back. We'll start doing some of the exercise, yeah? So remember, you're sat a little bit forward on the sit bone so that your bum's taking some of the weight and your feet are taking some of the weight, and you're pushing a little bit into the ground to stretch the spine. Again, I'm going to go sideways so you can see what I mean. A little bit forwards, stretching the spine. The head is back on top of the shoulders. So you really want to stretch up the front of the spine to bring the head back. And you soften the chest down and shift the shoulders across sideways. Are you there? Good. Then making that stretch go right the way down the full length of the arms, keeping the shoulders soft. So if you've got a mirror, it's quite useful because you can check. Sometimes you get all this tension, you can't feel it because it's been there for so long. So it's worthwhile having a look in the mirrors and decide for yourself, are my shoulders soft? Is my spine stretched? Is my head on top of the shoulders? So just make that a gentle stretch. We're not vigorously stretching, we're just trying to gently open things up a little bit. And then we change it so that we're making this kind of circle by making the elbows go out sideways and the hands are pretending to rest on a pair of walking sticks or pole or something. We're still sat forwards. Okay, there is a little bit of extra things going on here that I didn't tell you about before, which I'm going to tell you about now. We're going to rotate and breathe in at the same time. And then breathe out as we open out to the side. This time, the hands are vertical. You're trying to make the hands vertical. The arms don't need to be locked out. The elbows are pointing towards the ground. And then we follow through, all the way down, rotating the wrists so that the hands come back to where we started, so that we're resting on these poles. And then again. Breathing out. Following through, bringing it all the way around. And then again, breathing in. Breathing out. And then following through, bringing the hands back to where they started. Now here's a little pass note for you. When you're breathing in and lifting up, try and keep the spine straight. There's a tendency to arch the back. Try not to do that. Try to just keep it all straight. Breathing out. And all the way down. Resting on poles. And again, breathing in. Breathing out. Bringing it all the way down. Breathing in. Breathing out. Bringing it all the way down. By the way, I should say that this exercise can cause some people to feel a little bit faint, as if perhaps their blood sugar's dropped, or haven't eaten enough, or the blood pressure's dropped. Breathing in. If that's you, please stop. Please stop and just let yourself recover a little bit, yeah? Because this does have a tendency to make some people feel this way, especially if you haven't eaten recently. If you do stop, just sit in that sitting position that I showed you at the start, with the arms relaxed, bringing the hands back down. We'll do this 3 more times, okay? 1. 2. 3. 'And then once you've done that, just let the arms relax. In fact, just give them a little bit of a shake. Just keep them floppy and let the shake come from the shoulders, run down the full length of the arms through to the fingertips, so the hands are floppy as well. Okay? Have a sip of drink as well, which is what I'm going to do now. And of course, being alive, I can't edit this out afterwards. But hopefully that's encouraging you to get yourself lubricated. Okay, now it's time for a quick meditation, yeah? Quick 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minute meditation. So, just sitting as I said before, you can either let the arms relax down by the sides, or you can let the hands sit on the thighs. If you find one of these two is comfortable, but then as you get in the middle of the meditation, it starts to get uncomfortable, just try shifting to the other one and see what happens. Hopefully that will help you recover a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to talk you through this now, yeah? So just allow the eyelids to relax over the eyes. See if you can let the muscles around the forehead relax as well to go with it. And then the cheeks and the jaw relax as well. But keep this nice upright posture. Yeah, so you've got a little bit of force going through the feet, and therefore some force going up the spine through to the top of the head, keeping the head on top of the shoulders. The shoulders relaxed, but trying to be a little bit wider than they normally are. The chest relaxed and soft and a little bit sunk down towards the belly. Okay, so after all that checking in on the various parts of the body, just try and draw your awareness into the centre of the head, perhaps using that tongue technique that I explained to you earlier, or some other technique that seems to work for you. Just bringing the awareness into the centre of the head, but maintaining some of your awareness on keeping this posture. See if you can fine-tune it, focus it, so that it's not a blob, but more like a point, a small dot in the centre of your brain. Okay, and this is something that you can play with all the way through the meditation. So just get sort of like an approximate place, and then start allowing your level of alertness to drift down towards sleep. So you just feel drifting down towards sleep. Keeping the awareness focused in the centre of the head. Of course, this is going to make very compelling viewing. Normally I'll have some music set up for the background, but I'm running this from my office machine today because I thought I'd have a little experiment to see if I can make it work. So we're going to go silent for a bit, but you'll still see an image of me so that you know that I'm still here. Okay, so before you open your eyes, just allow that point of awareness or blob of awareness to grow at the same time as allowing your alert levels to rise again back towards normal wakingness or normal awakeness. I'm not sure if that's a word, but I'm sure you know what I mean. So as this blob of awareness grows, it's a bit like a balloon, one of those magician's balloons. It sort of fills, first of all it fills up the head, and then it grows down the neck, across the shoulders, splits off and goes down your arms and splits off again through your fingers at the same time as going all the way down the torso, just filling up the body, right the way through the torso, down the legs, right the way to the tips of the toes and the soles of the feet, so that you have a small sample of sensation of every part of your body, particularly the surface of your skin, that you've completely filled your body up. And when you've completely filled your body up, that's your signal to be back to normal awakeness and to allow your eyelids to gently, softly, gradually open, to reveal the real world again. So there we are. I think that was about 10 minutes. That's my 10-minute screen break, explained in full, and therefore it's taken us 35 minutes to get through. As I said, I will do a couple more videos, one for standing up, and then also a video of this, but without all of the detailed instructions at the front, and also a video of the standing up without the detailed instructions. So there'll be plenty there for you to work with, just to give you the ability to take a guided 10-minute screen break and hopefully de-stress a little bit. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to recording another video for you soon. Bye for now.